India's evolution from a cost-saving outsourcing hub to the world's innovation engine is a story of bold pivots through global disruptions. And at the heart of this lies the rise of global capability centers. India today has over 2,000 GCCs, employs nearly 2 million professionals, and commands almost one-third of GCC's annual leasing. India, therefore, is not just a back-office hub, but actually a strategic growth hub. And who better to help us understand this than Mr. Anshul Jain, Chief Executive, India and Southeast Asia at Cushman and Wakefield. Hello, Anshul.
Hi, good to be here.
Good to have you here on the sidelines of the inaugural GCC summit by Dun Bradstreet and Cushman and Wakefield. Now, Anshul, India is a preferred destination for GCCs across the world. Definitely, more than 2,000 GCCs are present. But how does India stack up when we compare it to other emerging economies like Latin America, Southeast Asia, etc.?
Look, I think if you look at the credibility of India or the competitive advantage of India, I mean, talent's always been that, right? And the talents has actually scaled up very significantly if you look at last sort of 20 years. We started with call centers and providing simple processes. Of course, the advantage we have of kind of deep tech education system which supports deep tech and development of that talent has always helped us. And we've kind of scaled up now in more sort of AI-led product innovation, which is really has become the engine of growth for the world effectively, right? So most of the boardrooms are kind of discussing India because this is where they're innovating products, which is going globally, right? It could be physical product or sometimes it could be just sort of, software products. If you compare that to the rest of the world, there is various South American economies. Of course, there is Philippines, closer home here in Asia. And then there are a couple of sort of Eastern European economies, right? While they will all have their own spots of competitive advantages, right? But I think what India can provide in terms of scale is absolutely missing. Just to give you an idea about the scale of real estate, if I look at about 7 or 8 countries, a few in South America, a few in Eastern Europe and Philippines, and put all their good quality office real estate together, that's about half of what India has, or half of what are 6 cities. So, there have been traditionally 2 models in which the firms have sort of entered India. So one is what is a true outsourcing model, where you're not only offshoring a service from US or Western Europe into India, but also outsourcing it to a third-party provider, right? So these are big services firms like HCL, Wipro, Infosys, and likes of it, right? And then you have build operate, then you have your own sort of, do your own kind of DIY, which is you just do it yourself. And a lot of firms choose to come into India and, they have the scale, they are big multi-billion-dollar organizations. They have the scale, they have the resources, and they just come in and create their own GCC. So there's an emerging model that Cushman Wakefield has actually brought on the table, which is called an assisted DIY model. So you still do it yourself. You still have full control of your processes. You still have full control over the creative process of innovating the product or process, right? But everything around it, which is not only real estate, which we provide, but the legal framework, the tax framework, the recruitment framework, where do you get your talent from, right? Helping you recruit. So we have brought in an assisted DIY model, which we call, which is based on a platform of advisors and experts, right? So we are not tax expert, but we have a tax expert on that platform. We have a legal expert on that platform. We have a talent expert on, we have a recruiter on the platform, and we ourselves are real estate. So we kind of, put it all together and make it easier. So I would say that's the third model that's sort of emerged.
We have spoken a lot on actually talent as one of the important factors for GCC and then cost arbitrage. But is it only centered on these two? Or are there something more about it? Is cost really the factor?
I think the beauty of India still is that we, on an average, from western cities are probably between 15 to 20% of the total cost of operation. So we have a tool which we call the Rev 360, which we are launching today. And that basically, at a click of a button, gives you the total cost of operations. So if you, and it's a it's a high-level tool where you're at the beginning of your decision-making process, right? And you say, okay, where should I really go? And I sort of, I pick this tool, I open this up, I click 10 cities in the world, then 5 sort of cities, Western cities that are already in, and I say, okay, I've got maybe 1,000, I need about 1,000 people. What's it going to cost to run a business in these 10 locations, or 10 locations compared to the 5 sort of Western locations? And bang, it will give you an analytics, right? So it gives you a very quick view of where you could be, right? So it helps you narrow very quickly down to say from sort of 10 cities in the world to where could I be in the 3 cities. So it's called Rev 360, and we're launching that. And it's really about giving that elevated advisory so that clients are able to convert their vision to an actually executed product
to the last mile
as risk-free as possible.